There are softwares that I'd still say I'm in the implementation phase, still training new people on.
If you try to take something that's disconnected and it's a brand new thing they have to learn, that even if it's amazing, it's going to be hard to get the whole team to adopt.
The second someone on that project team looks at something and sees that it's a drift problem and they don't trust it anymore, they will never trust it again.
When you get to put those on and you actually see design, it is mind-blowing.
It's incredible. I want all this technology to assist us and make our jobs more efficient.
Today, we're excited to have Ben here. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
All right, let's dig in. Let's do some introductions first. So share a little bit about yourself and your role.
Sure. So my name's Ben Stocker. I'm the senior construction technologist at Skender. We're a general contractor based in Chicago. Also have some work in the Indiana area as well, but primarily in Chicago. The elevator pitch I tell people of what I do is just the R&D of any new technologies that help out our project teams and then implementing those.
Okay, so a really easy role.
Easy description, sure. Easy to actually enact. It's a little more complicated.
Yes, it is.
There's a lot more fine print there.
Yeah, yes. I'd love to hear a little bit about that. Like, how are you going about selecting technologies, or how do you do some of the trialing before, looking at implementation? What does that look like for you?
Lots and lots of product demos.
Yes.
Lots of time, either in-person demos or just even on Zoom or whatever, just to get a feel for, what's out there. A big part of my role is just knowing what's out in the technology landscape. What's out there, what are we capable of, and then trying to figure out, is this going to work into Skender's workflow? Will it integrate with other softwares that we're already using? Would people actually even want to use this? Because one thing is it going to fit into our tech stack, but is it going to fit into our people's stack as well?
Yeah.
So I kind of have, a good feel of all the superintendents, the PMs on our job sites, what are they actually willing to do? And
yes.
Because that's really important. You can't just, even if it on paper fits into your tech stack, you can't just dump it on someone. You have to know how that person works too, and what they want to get out of things, and how they use tech.
I talked to another emerging tech leader in a GC yesterday, and that was when I was asking some of the pain points. Is that was one of the biggest ones, is talking about the ease of use, the ease of integrating into a process. If you try to take something that's disconnected and it's a brand new thing they have to learn, that even if it's amazing, it's going to be hard to get the whole team to adopt or to scale across an organization. And I don't think a lot of people think about that piece. They just assume that, well, of course we're going to adopt the tech because there's benefits, it's ROI, it's easier, but the ease of integration into a company or a workflow,
it's almost more important than what the actual tech does itself. Because you could find the coolest new piece of tech, try to implement it, and even if I know this is going to work well, if it fails, and I just wasted X amount of dollars on a subscription or whatever, or purchasing a piece of hardware, it's just a waste then.
Yeah.
You have to. It's going to have to actually work with the people themselves.
Yeah. Do you take, when you're looking at new technologies, I'm assuming maybe you take two approaches of, one, just trying to understand all the technologies that exist, but two, do you guys identify things you're trying to solve and then specifically look for tech to solve that, or what does that look like?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
A lot, because I spend so much time just looking to see what's out there, we've had a lot of cases where a problem will arise and then be all right, I already know the perfect solution for this because it's a software or a piece of hardware that I have, even just barely had my eye on or something, but I know this will solve this problem, and then we can implement it that much quicker because I already know that it's out there.
Yeah.
A perfect example, I'll even give a little shout out. I actually don't know how to pronounce the company's name. LightYX is how they do laser projections for layout. We had a project where, we had never used that before, but I just knew of them. Had a project where we had a really complicated layout that was needed on a feature wall of an interior build out. There's a lot of in-wall MEPs that had to be very precisely laid out essentially. And a superintendent reached out to me and he was like, hey, we could lay this out with your laser scanner, right? And I was like, well, no, that's not this is the opposite here.
Different laser.
We're projecting, not capturing. But I was like, that's not how that works, but I do have a solution for you.
Lasers, yes, just something else.
Yes. But it was great because I already knew that. I was able to reach out to the company then, and luckily they actually already had someone doing a job in Chicago at the time. So we were able to get someone out there just like a few days later, and it just worked really well. So yeah, that was one option that you mentioned where, the problem arises and then we find something.
Yes.
But then also, I'm sorry, I'm totally blanking on what was the other.
Just the approach of looking at all the tech, or if you guys come up with problems then you go search for a specific solution.
Yeah. So I mean that does happen as well. It's I already have like a pretty good grasp of what's out there. So like it's we don't go blindly out looking for things once we come up with a problem. So yeah, that doesn't happen as much, I would say, but I mean, it definitely does. Like, I mean, even just simple things like looking for a new cloud storage solution or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I already know kind of what's out there, but then we'll just maybe a little deeper dive on the options.
Yeah. Very cool. Out of some of the tech that you're using and that you guys like, or you see, current, what are some existing like pain points or struggles that you're having or seeing?
Pain points, kind of going back to getting people to actually use this tech.
Yep.
The way I get around that though, and it's a little slower this way, but I feel like it's more effective, is I love all the technology, right? I'm sure you're the same way.
Yep.
But I almost don't work well as an internal salesman in my own company because there's like, oh, well, Ben loves everything. Sure, there's validity to it, but still. So like what I'll do is I like to find a champion then within my company, and usually it's a superintendent because they run the projects, are one of the most important people on the job. So if I can sell them and get them to use this particular software, hardware, whatever it is, and then they sell it to other projects.
Yeah.
So that organic growth like that is a model that I really like. To help solve that problem. The downside is it's a little bit slower of an implementation process, but it's just more natural then, and it's authentic, like because the people know that they want to use it then, and then another superintendent will be like, oh, well, I trust this guy.
I trust him. Like, it's a similar role, talking about the value.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. You always hear the company needs a champion, and you're the technology champion.
Yeah.
And now you're making more champions underneath to help kind of build on a project scale. Yeah.
So I mean, it's still, I just made it sound easy, but like it's definitely still a problem because I mean there are softwares, the one in particular I'm thinking of that like we purchased a little over a year ago now that I still say I'm in the implementation phase, still training new people on. So yeah, sometimes it's slow, but it at least ensures that we are going to use it properly because people are using it because they want to, and they know it's going to help them because it's been successful on other jobs as well.
Totally.
So it works a lot better than just saying, all right, we just purchased this software now, everyone start using it right now.
Yes. Yeah. Straight failure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What are some technologies that you have not yet implemented that you're seeing that you're excited about or you're looking to get more into?
I mean, the one that I really want to make work well is just mixed reality and AR. We did a lot of testing with it. 4 or 5 years. I mean, we have a handful of Magic Leap ones.
Yeah.
Got HoloLens 2 and everything, and did a lot of testing with that, and just it never really took off to the level that I wanted to. I mean, it was okay, but then we had a lot of problems with model drift and whatnot, and I'm seeing some good things about the actual object tracking with the new the Apple Vision Pro. So, I mean, obviously the apps need to be built still for that. But hopefully that will make it a little more mainstream and usable. But it was just never at that level where it was just super easy to put on anyone's face and then they could use it. There were always like little minor complications where then that user would be like, well, why is this misaligned? Like, did I install this in the wrong place? And I'd have to be like, well, no, I think it's actually just drift problems. And because like the second someone on that project team looks at something and sees that it's a drift problem and not like their install problem, they don't trust it anymore. And the second that trust is gone once, they will never trust it again. So
wait, come try it again.
It got better 2 years later. That is probably the biggest thing that I would love to actually see work well, because I definitely see the value in it. It's absolutely there. There are just challenges with it still.
Yeah, that seems like I had someone on earlier talking about AR, and that seems like one that the technology is improving, yet not really implemented on job sites very much yet. I've seen some case studies, I've seen some companies successfully use it, but you're not going out to job sites seeing everyone using AR.
Exactly, I see a lot of, we used it on this big high profile project. It's like, okay, well, did you use it in the whole project?
No,
did
it was
you just use it in one room? And that's what I've seen even, like sometimes they'll be like, we just used it in this one room to look at certain things. It's like, well, I would love to just be able to put that headset on and then walk around the entire job site. And sure, maybe realign as you get to a new floor or something, or a new wing of the building. But like, it was really annoying to have to readjust that model every 20, 30 feet or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big one. It's exciting to see, people who haven't been in with AR goggles on and like getting to see the real world. It seems weird and futuristic, but if you're not doing that, you're sitting on a computer looking at a model and you're spinning stuff around, and you're like, it's hard to see. When you get to put those on and you actually see design, or you're QCing stuff in person and you're walking through the space, it is mind-blowing.
It's incredible. I still, if people at Skender have asked me about it or whatever, they maybe just saw something on LinkedIn or whatever, I'll be like, yeah, we did these tests, and I'll show them the recordings that I made back in 2019 or whatever. And like, just if you look at it from that recording perspective, it's like, this looks amazing, why aren't we using it? And then I have to tell them all the little tiny things that were annoying about it. So I mean, that was all 4 or 5 plus years ago, and I mean, I know it definitely has gotten better.
Yes. Yeah, and I think it's at that point that it's getting better. They're finding those problems. They're trying to solve those problems with different softwares that I've seen, different platforms that are out there. It's kind of like, any of the other tech, scanners or drones. Over a 5-year period, things change so much. Even
absolutely.
Over a 2-year period, it goes from, well, it used to be more expensive, it used to be big, it used to be slow, the files were so big. Well, now there are small options, there's cheap options there. Same with the AR is, it's been the early stage all the way till now. It's now getting to the point. I think there are devices and platforms that are going to make the next few years realistic to actually start implementing and seeing adoption.
That's what excites me about when that technology. Yes, I'm excited about like bleeding edge stuff, but when the technology hits that level where it just becomes accessible to everyone. Heck, we got the LiDAR scanners in our pockets now on phones, and yes, the data isn't fantastic from that, but it's just extremely accessible for people now.
Oh my gosh,
I love when you get to that point for all data, but it was like you said, just five years ago or whatever, and how much something can change. Like, that's what we were talking about in the keynote session on Sunday, is like, or how I mentioned, like, you can't just be looking at like what's out today, or what are we going to see 5 years from now? Like, look at the technology from 5 years ago, and how much better it is, and how easily you can implement it now. Because yes, it came out 5 years ago, but it's really accessible, and all the little QC problems are fixed in it now, and like, you can really roll these out on your jobs and make your jobs so much better and more efficient. So,
in all the conversations I have, because I talk to a lot of people, they turn around and they want to ask me, what do you think the next technology is? My answer is always the same thing. I literally say, I don't care about what technology is next. We have so much cool technology now. It's about getting proper workflows and combining technologies and the ecosystem of that, because look, we don't need a faster scanner. We don't need more points per second.
Well, it wouldn't hurt.
It wouldn't hurt, but still, just we have so many struggles just in systems and workflow and understanding of the tech now, that it's like, that's why I'm trying to focus on conversations around struggles and education and what's working and what's not, is I believe that if we combine the technologies that exist today in good workflows, and we're sharing best practices, and we're improving, okay, well, how does this system talk to that? What data do we use if we're trying to solve this AR problem? What if we as a community share the learnings and share that some of that workflow, that all these companies have individual focuses, right, of R&D and testing, and well, what if all of us started sharing some of the resources that we've gone through and the outcomes we've found, and we're collaborating on those things, I think that helps the adoption and some of the struggles we face get improved drastically.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll feel like you're using that futuristic tech, even though it's old tech, but you're just using it efficiently now or properly.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I mean, I don't know. I definitely feel the same way too, though. We have to keep looking forward as well. We have to know what's ahead of us, but we also need to just use what we already have better and more efficiently.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting future. We'll start wrapping up here, but I want to hear, what is the future? You guys are construction. What does the future of the job site look to you if we pull out the long vision of, give it 10 years? What's the future of your job sites look like?
Well, clearly it's only robots on the job site, and the few humans are all going to have headsets on. And, I mean, in the near-ish future, whatever, really, I just want all these advancements to just assist the jobs that we're already doing, enhance the jobs we're already doing, make them more efficient and easier. So whether it's the robotics on job sites, whether it's AI analyzing the stuff that we are capturing, I just want that to be able to give us better data insights so that we don't have to waste time trying to analyze all this data. It can just be done for us, or at least give us, what's the term I'm trying to say? It'll just give us insights so we can make more intelligent decisions. Just so you don't have to spend as much time trying to analyze it yourself. And that applies not just to, analyzing a point cloud or whatever, anything. I mean, I just want to take 360 photos on a job site and just automatically, actually identify everything that's on this job and what happened. And we're like, that's starting. It's definitely early though. But yeah, just I want all this technology to assist us and make our jobs more efficient. That's really it.
Absolutely.
Save more of our time, and ideally that makes it. I was talking with someone earlier. They're like, "Oh, so if we get all more efficient, that means we can do a 4-day work week now, right?" It's like, no, that just means you're doing more projects.
Doing something else. Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good. That's good. Yeah. It's an exciting time because all of the different technologies are improving so much. That vision of the future of like autonomous capture is actually going to be a thing. That is getting closer of, you might have a robot going through and autonomously capturing at night and giving you data back. And I love thinking about the software side. I think how we use data is the biggest area for improvement over the next few years, because there's the AI piece, the machine learning piece. There's so much data being captured and created through LiDAR, through images. For those who haven't played with it, you definitely have to just get in ChatGPT. Right? It's the most basic version to play with and start to understand what could AI do. And you when you get in and you start playing with that and you understand, like, you can ask it questions and it can give you feedback. And I look at the future of our software that has this data. I'm like, could you imagine opening up your point cloud or model platform that has data integrated and just being able to ask, like, what's the percentage of, completion on just the electrical today? And it pulls and writes and gives you the report.
Yeah. I mean, we're not that far off from that.
I don't think so.
I've seen some things where it's already can recognize like specific objects, but and that's strictly from imagery. I'm sure you could do it from point clouds as well too. But yeah, I would love to be able to just in natural language say, say you're doing weekly captures, whether it's with photo, LiDAR, or whatever. It'd just be like, hey, how much additional electrical conduit was installed this week versus the previous week? And if you can just type that out in natural language and it gives you a result,
pulls all the data,
and then shows you where that was installed as well, that's fantastic. Because all of that's maybe not photo as much, but if it was from LiDAR, it's all going to be spatially located on your job site. So
I'm waiting for one of the platforms that takes models and data, images, and be able to do that. Like, it's just mind-blowing, because right now, most of the value that comes out of things like LiDAR, whether it's terrestrial, mobile, that doesn't matter. When you have a point cloud, most of the value that comes from that is a manual process. You're going in and pulling manual measurements. You're recreating a scan to a BIM model so that you can pull it into design. And I'm just like, man, imagine that intelligent piece being able to say, it's already segmented and identified all your columns. So you could just say, show me all the columns a certain size, or give me
there are some fun, like semi-autonomous workflows for that type of stuff right now.
Yeah.
But it's still like, human guided, human assisted. You have to show it the first few or whatever, or like, like for just line work extraction or whatever from a point cloud, you have to like, all right, start here. And then like, it kind of like learns as you go down that curb line or whatever. But if we could just have it, have it in a trained set where it automatically will recognize everything. I mean, I'm just looking in the Space Runner right now. There's a ton of MEPs exposed overhead. Yep. If we could just do scans through this area and then automatically will just recognize what everything is, and then you can do your quantities off of that or whatever, just all automated, amazing. But I mean, really, like we said, we're not that far away from there probably. Yeah. I mean, easily within 5 years.
Yes.
Easily.
Yeah, I believe so. I say this quote a lot, but I love it because I feel like we're in the roles that this is the focus. I think it's attributed to multiple people, but I'll say Abraham Lincoln says the best way to predict the future is to create it. And we talk about these futuristic ideas. Yeah. They don't happen by themselves. It happens through community, through conversations of like what pain points we're solving, talking between real users versus the people creating the tools. That's why I'm excited about this idea of building more community, more conversations. Is it's going to increase the feedback loops and the ability to start pulling things like this together and actually build that future idea that we're all excited about.
that feedback loop is super important for me, like personally at least, because like all the software that I work with, I like to have like that personal relationship with either the customer success manager or the development team if I get to know them. But I like to provide a lot of feedback to those people. Some of them probably think it's too much, I don't know. But it's really important because that's how we make all these products better.
Totally.
Like, if you don't tell them the use cases that you want, like you said, it's not going to be built then.
Yep.
So yeah, that is really important for me. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. Well, again, I appreciate, glad we got the time to sit down and do a little conversation here. I'm sure it won't be the last time. We'll need to dig in and get a little deeper on a future one, but glad we got to meet up here at Geo Week. Anything else you want to leave before we wrap up here?
Oh man, I don't know. We talked about some good. I could sit here for hours.
I know.
I've been doing it for the past 3 days straight now with everyone here. So, gosh, I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff out there, but the biggest thing though, I think that we touched on though, is just use what's already there. Learn how to use it. And just really take advantage of what we have, what we're capable of already. I mean, heck, just walking around the floor here, I'm still surprised at some of the things we have. And like, this already exists now. It's really amazing. So yeah, pay attention to the future, but really look what we have available already. You can really make your jobs efficient.
Absolutely. So to summarize, innovation, be innovative, research, be willing to change, which is, look, we better stop there. We're going to start a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, you're opening another can there.
Innovation's important. Look into the tech, adopt it, and collaborate with people, communicate with people. So it's an exciting future ahead. Thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.